Welcome to this week's episode of Queen Space Conversations. I'm your host, Mary MJ Harper, and today I'm joined by some incredible women, my friends and community partners who are truly making an impact in the DFW area. With me today are Debra Nickerson of Fort Worth's 5 Loaves and 2 Fish, Christina Cheng of Under My Umbrella, Roslyn Bryant of Helping Hands Open Hearts, and Patricia Scott of Caring and Compassionate Hearts and Helping Hands. Together, we're diving into a powerful conversation about community service, faith, family, partnership, and the work ahead. You'll hear stories of impact, resilience, and purpose, and find out how you can be a part of the movement to be a blessing and pay it forward. Come on in the room. Let's get started. Welcome to this week's episode of Queen Space Conversations. I'm your host, Mary MJ Harper, and I am so excited to welcome into the Queen Space 4 of my dear, inspiring sisters, Miss Patricia Rigsby Scott, Miss Christina Cheng, Miss Debra Nickerson, and Miss Roslyn Bryant. All of these ladies are amazing women who operate nonprofit organizations that primarily benefit the unsheltered community within the DFW Metroplex area. Miss Pat is the founder of Caring and Compassionate Hearts and Helping Hands. I almost got it right. I just told y'all we're going to mess it up. And we have Christina Cheng, who is the founder and director of Under My Umbrella. Miss Debra Nickerson, who is the founder and director of 2 Fish and 5 Loaves. And Roslyn Bryant, who is the director and founder of Helping Hands Open Hearts. These are some amazing women doing amazing things in the DFW area to benefit those who are underprivileged and less fortunate. Ladies, welcome into the Queen Space.
Thank you for having us.
So I would like to start this conversation off by just sharing, number one, that all of you all are a part of the Inspiring Women's Alliance. And the Inspiring Women's Alliance is a group of women who have been recognized for the work that they do in the community through the Inspiring Women's Award Gala. I met each of these ladies attached to one another. I believe Roslyn and I became friends and we connected first, which gave me an opportunity to get exposure to you other ladies and what you are doing in the community. So my first question, and I'll ask you first, Miss Pat, because I believe you are the veteran amongst us, I believe. As far as nonprofit work, I believe. Tell us a little bit how you got started.
Well, Caring, Compassionate Hearts, and Helping Hands initially started out just as Compassionate Hearts and Helping Hands. And that start out, I have to give that credit back to my mom years and years ago, where we were out visiting an elderly person in the nursing home, and they were having trouble eating their food. So literally, I dropped my bags, started cutting up their food, and my mom said, offhandedly, that girl hands are always helping. And that sparked that place of serving. Yes. And then it just kind of evolved from there. That evolved into our unsheltered community. And just basically we're true to our mantra, fill a need, fill a need. Whatever needs are, we seek to fill it.
And what about you, Miss Christina? You have a very unique name, Under My Umbrella. Where did you come up with that name and what does it mean for your organization?
So that comes from one of my favorite Maya Angelou quotes. And basically it's about how everybody struggles. And when you come out of that struggle, you have a responsibility then to hold your umbrella for those that are still struggling. Yes. And so that's something that I really wanted to impart onto my sons, which is why we started Under My Umbrella.
Awesome. All right, Ms. D, tell us how you got 2 Fish and 5 Loaves.
Oh, sure. It's actually Fort Worth, 5 Loaves and 2 Fish outreach. It started out with being 5 Loaves and 2 Fish Ministries.
Okay.
We started back when Obama ran for election. The day that he took office or accepted the election or won the election, he was talking about going out and volunteering. Mm-hmm. So in a prayer and worship service that night in my home by myself, the Lord said, go feed my people. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm already feeding the people during Sunday school, church on Sundays. I thought that's what he meant. And so he gave a vision of going out to serve the unsheltered. The next day I went to work and asked a few people, hey, the Lord wants me to go out and feed the people. Can you help? And so from that point on, we started serving them on the streets.
Awesome, awesome. And my sister friend, tell me how you got started.
Helping Hands, Open Hearts initially was a hobby with my parents, and then it became a nonprofit out of grief and giving. I basically took care of my mom and my grandmother both until they passed, and then I had all this free time. So I was talking to my father, and I said, I had this free time. What do I need to do? And he says, well, go back to what you know, which is service, because I served as a child with my parents. So my nieces at the time were like 7 and 3, and that's how Helping Hands Open Hearts started. The two of them in the back of my car, and we would pull up at the bridge downtown Dallas until the police ran us off. We'd serve what we had, whether it was Debbie snacks or chips and water, until we ran out, and it just grew.
That's awesome. So, Miss Christina, you mentioned a very important fact that I definitely want to share with people. You are the CEO and founder of Under My Umbrella, but you have some amazing co-partners with you. So, yes, your co-workers, your co-partners, co-founders, and that is your 2 sons. So, tell me, why was it important for you to make sure that your sons were a part of what you're doing in the community?
I think as a pediatric clinical coordinator, I study kids a lot. And a lot of times, kids, they feel like they don't have control over something or anything because they're so small, they don't got jobs, they can't, So I wanted to not only show my sons that they can make a difference through service, but I wanted to give them the sense of ownership and the sense of control over something that if they see something, they're not too little to do something about it. So all of our programs really stem from either Ishan or Avi. Like we now have a basketball youth program, we have the Christmas program, and then when we go serve our neighbors downtown, it comes from the kids and something that they saw that they wanted to fill a need. So I said, you know what, let's figure out how to do it. You just need a little bit of adult help. But when they start getting curious and when they start wanting to make a difference, I think it's important that we support that and give them a way to do that.
So important.
Awesome. Very important. And while we're talking about family, I know that each of us at one point or another have had family members, close friends, to align with us and support us. What have you found was the greatest benefit of having the support of not the community overall, just on that first stage, your family, your immediate village or circle, and what do you wish you would have had more of, or what are your thoughts on having that your village a part of what you do?
I'll say the village is the nonprofit. Like literally, it was me and my 2 nieces that was the start of Helping Hands Open Hearts. So family is important to see the vision, but it also gives you an additional thought process of how the vision should pan out.
Yeah. And what about you, Misty?
I would say the same thing. My family, my 2 sisters served with me. My oldest sister just recently passed on last week. But I look at it in the last 5 years since COVID, the things that we do now, I don't know how I would have done it without them. My 2 sisters have proven to be an intricate part of serving, and the people look forward to the sister squad. We call ourselves the sister squad, and it's like, if they see one without the other, it's like, it's incomplete. Where's your sister? Da 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 da. But my sisters look forward to serving, and then with my older sister, who did just recently pass, one of the things she said 5 years ago was she was dying. She was dying inside because her husband continued to work, and she did not work. She was retired, so now she's sitting at home. She didn't have a purpose. So when she started serving, she had a purpose. And then recently, even, just communicating with her sons and my younger sister, my sister's truck broke down, so she was without a truck since January of this year. So she hasn't been able to serve. So they feel like she was in the house losing herself again, and she just gave in. So it's like family is important to the service, but also the service is important to the family.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I found that it helps you to create a stronger bond with each other. You know, when everybody feels like there's something that they've invested in it, and you have a mutual goal and a mutual purpose. It helps you to be closer.
Right.
Now, Miss Pat, out of all of us that are here, you have a Mr. Scott at home. Yes. So, how has that been for you? Having your husband by your side, as far as ministry, you know, you got to make that time, you know, to pour into him. So, what type of challenges have you had to face as far as serving and still being sure to show up at home?
The biggest challenge is understanding and realizing that my passion is not necessarily his, but he supports mine.
Shout out, bro.
And we have found that oftentimes, like he'll say, "Oh, where's your husband? I don't see him." It's like he reminded me to let them know. He's like, "Let them know I'm the packer, I'm the plater, I'm the picker upper, I'm the unpacker. You don't get out there unless I help you get there." And so that's what he does. He is at home making sure that I have everything that I need. Even coming here today, he was like picking up, what do I need to put in the car? What do you need? So it's not so much as that he has to be out there on the streets with me. It's his simply being there without being there, because he gives me everything that I need and the support that I need to actually go out and do what I need to do. And as we're talking about family, and my late mom, who was an intricate part of the ministry, who was a great supporter of the ministry, her thing was always, what do we got to do for the people? What do we need to be doing for the people? That was her line. And it didn't matter. She'd call Cedric, where's that girl? I bet she's out there with the people. What are you doing for the people? So family is an intricate part. My nieces, my nephews. I don't have brothers and sisters now. Everyone, it's just me now, actually. But my nieces and my great nieces and nephews, so we're in Texarkana, wherever we are, they're always there pitching in to do what it is that needs to be done. So family is so very important, and not just the blood family. It's that extended family. Our volunteers become our families, and they are an intricate part of making sure that we have what we have. And because, again, like I said, I don't have brothers and sisters now. That extended family of mine is a great integral part. Containers. I have someone's like, I've got your containers. What do you need? So that family is everything.
Well, you just still have sisters.
Absolutely do. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So that's what I said. That intricate, that extended family is it is very important.
Yeah.
You can't deny it. None whatsoever.
And that's one thing I love about us and other people that I've had the privilege of meeting and working with. I know we've got about 50 different chats, with one-off person here or this chat for this group. But, one thing that I like about the nonprofit community, our immediate nonprofit community, I won't say all, is the willingness to share. We share resources, we share contacts, we share supplies, we share ideas. And how important have you all found that to be in what you do in the community, being able to connect with nonprofit organizations that are not in competition with you, but are in partnership with you? And how would you describe the difference? Miss Debra, you answer that for me first.
Oh, sure. On that portion, I'm going to say I would describe the difference, because basically what you're saying is one of the things you mentioned is our circle. So my nonprofit circle, when it comes to resources, is kind of small, because I know who will share, who will reciprocate what I've given them, who will reciprocate what I've received from them. And so I look at it as, I know that if she has it, I have it. My motto is, I tell my circle, if I have it, you have it. If it's a resource, if it's a supply, if it's my last, you have it. Because I can't make it without her. I can't make it without the next one, you, her. So I love to share. I love the fact that I run in a circle that doesn't mind sharing. Because you may have a resource that I don't have. I don't have a connection. Some of my resources, I was telling Pat, one of my vendors has a 2-year waiting list because I'm on that list now and I'm at that portion where I can receive. I don't mind sharing what I receive because it may be 2 years before she can get on that list, before you can get on that list. So it's like if I can get it, if I can get more, I'm going to ask for more. So I don't mind sharing, and I love the fact that most of the people that we are in a circle with, it feels the same way. Your numbers are my numbers. Her numbers are my numbers.
So our stats are your stats.
Yes. If you're serving somewhere and I can't serve there and I can send, I want to send.
Yeah.
Pat goes to Texarkana all the time. I have no desire to go to Texarkana.
I'm gonna get it down.
Okay.
She's still there. She's
Yeah.
sending her
Yeah.
love through you.
Yeah.
So
And
she's
that's
there.
one of the intricate things, like I said, we always say is that being there without being there. And each of us, I think you asked the question of how, what does it look like? You're looking at it.
Yeah.
You're looking at it right here. If you were to walk down to our cars right now, you would see an immediate exchange of resources.
Trunk
We
full,
brought-
ready for y'all.
I brought something for, when we got here, we're talking about, oh, I brought this for you. You're gonna take that. So we have that connection of McKinney to Plano to Frisco to Dallas to Fort Worth because you're looking at it. You're looking at the sharing.
So, Roslyn, just kind of a spin-off on that same question. What would you say is the importance of being able to connect with other community partners, and how has it benefited you in what you do?
Learning. There's so much that we learn from each other. Debra spoke of resources. I'm more of a behind the scenes legal documentation type person. So that's the information and knowledge that I usually bring to the group. Hey, how do you get your trademark? How do you file for 501c3? How do you file for tax exempt? Have you applied for Walmart grants? Have you done this, that, and another? So we each bring something different to our circle, but it's all about learning and sharing that makes it so important.
Awesome. So now, Christina, you are the baby nonprofit of the group, but you are one of those babies who, grew up quick. And you are doing phenomenal things, and we have been able to see you tap into so many resources and so many connections that have benefited us, as well as the communities that we serve. What has been one of the biggest challenges for you coming into the nonprofit world?
I think just like with everyone else, it's a learning curve. This started me and my kids walking down the streets of Dallas with a wagon, running into these two ladies and saying, you need to file for 501c status. I'm like, but why? And then I started getting business donors that wanted to donate. So I'm like, okay, well, you deserve a tax break. So let's help each other. You're a small business. My target is minority-owned businesses. To highlight them and to help them because they are giving back to the community and they're not being seen because a lot of times they're doing it behind the scenes. And so for me, one of the challenges is to pull from that community and to give them that highlight, even though some of them aren't really, especially in the Asian community, they don't really want to necessarily be in the spotlight. But there's such power and so many benefits of pulling all of those resources together. And so it's been a process of learning how to do that in a way that everybody feels comfortable. And showing representation within my nonprofit, and benefiting everyone else as well as we rise. So
now, I believe with each one of you ladies, you all are at the point or beyond the point of servicing or feeding 150 people plus a week. Is that right?
Absolutely.
And Miss Debra, on every single Sunday, how many people would you say that you serve in the Fort Worth area?
On a given Sunday, I'm going to say it's between 100 and 125.
And you do that every single Sunday?
I do it every Sunday.
And what about you, Miss Pat? You all over the place. You in Texarkana, you out in Fort Worth, you are all around. So what would you say are on a weekly basis, how many lives you touch?
On a weekly basis, 300 to 400, depending upon the week. and upwards to 500 to 600 on certain weeks, depending on which organizations that we're partnered with. One of the things that we enjoy doing with our ministry is that place again, that our mantra is fill a need, fill a need. So we're not out there trying to do what everybody else is doing. We're trying to walk alongside, to collaborate, to that paraclete, to collaborate with, to bring something extra or to bring whatever is needed to that event or whatever that whomever we're partnering with. So we don't have a set place. We basically go where the people are, whether that's the various encampments, behind buildings, dumpsters, wherever it is, we go. And again, like I said, with these ladies, we partner up with them, and we just do it. We just do it. And again, it's that place in our stats or your stats. And we partner with several many organizations, as you mentioned, even in Texarkana, that we do 4 events, major events in Texarkana, where we serve upwards to 200 to 300 people when we're in Texarkana. So again, we just, if there's a need, we want to try to fill it. If there's an empty belly, our mantra is that sharing the love of the Lord, one full belly at a time.
Full belly at a time. I love it. And Roslyn, what about you? On an average, Thankful Thursdays, what are we doing every week?
We are now around 175 to 100. And that's, before we run out. And that's because we run out.
That's it.
That's the case. It would be more if the donations and the resources and the funds are there. So it also depends on that.
So there are a lot of people that I come across now who are, I want to start my own nonprofit. I want to do this. I want to do that. I don't know where to start, so on and so forth. What would you tell someone who has a passion for giving, a passion for work, who just says, I want to go start a nonprofit, she's like, don't do it. But what would be your advice to someone who has a passion or a desire to give back to the community and is looking for where to start?
Do the work. I always say do the work.
Just do the work.
Just do the work. Because if you're listening, most of us did the work.
Yeah.
We didn't have the nonprofit status. I started in 2008. My nonprofit status was not until 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
I did the work.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, you're starting a nonprofit, but most people, when they say they want to start a nonprofit, that's all they're saying is they want to start a nonprofit.
But they're not saying they want to do the work.
They don't have an
What's your
idea.
vision?
What's your
Who you
purpose?
serving?
They're not serving.
Yeah.
Most
your
of them who
purpose for
say, I
doing
want to
it?
start a nonprofit, they're not serving.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing anything. Then a lot of people start their nonprofits, and the paperwork saying their vision is this. But they look at you and say, it looks easy doing that. So I do that because now I'm looking for resources, I'm looking for money. It doesn't match nothing that's on your paper, but you make it look easy. Because like you're saying, we get up and we do the work. We're counting numbers, but at the same time, we're not counting numbers. Because we're saying, like, I go out on Sundays, I go out on Mondays, I go out on Tuesdays. My number is 120 and 25 on Sundays. I have a guaranteed spot on Sundays. Friday night, I'm downtown Dallas. I'm doing the work.
That number may be different on
Those numbers that are given are based on steadfast things.
Yeah.
But not counting those
when I'm
impromptu
yes.
pop-up
Yes.
visits.
Absolutely.
They have
Someone
no
blesses
idea.
you with something
If
else and
I'm
you
a
need to get it out.
nonprofit, if I'm a nonprofit, they don't know that I'm a
Yes,
nonprofit.
absolutely.
They see a person. As a matter of fact, I rode with someone else. When I got out of my car, the first thing the person says is, I'm coming to Fort Worth this weekend. Never saw her before in my life. I'm thinking, but evidently she comes to Fort Worth to be served.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, sister, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, The other thing I noticed, too, when people say, hey, I want a nonprofit, they're looking for something as a profit.
Let me go. Let me touch into that piece. So my words to anyone starting a nonprofit is not fake. It is hard work, not hard work, hard work.
Yeah.
And I say that, I hashtag it. Anyone who slides in my DM with the, oh, I want to start a nonprofit. is not for the faint of heart. Service is not about convenience.
That part. Yep, we know that one.
Yeah.
Service is
And you
not
have to have
about
a spirit
convenience.
of service.
Yeah.
Hailstorms.
Yeah.
Ice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Heat
Yeah.
waves.
You got to be willing to get out there. And one thing I love about these ladies, about each of you, is that, when I went through a period where I wasn't able to go out, I wasn't able to get out in the streets. And I was sitting there, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. What am I supposed to be doing? And God just began to say to me, look at the people that are around you, and you can still touch everyone that I intend for you to touch if you partner with the right people. And so that led me to, our partnerships together, that led me to being able to partner with so many other groups that we all have in common together, and we share resources. So even though at that point I wasn't able to physically get out and hit the streets like I was in the beginning, I still felt like I was able to make a difference.
And you were.
Because I was able to see what you all were doing. And I was like, yes, we did, And it's a reward in doing that. It doesn't always have to be your name on the marquee. It doesn't always have to be your name on the printed bag or on the t-shirt, but you can do that hard work. You can do that hard work and you can learn. I would encourage anyone who's watching to definitely connect with these ladies on social media so that you can see what they are doing in the community. So you can learn firsthand what it takes, because it's not easy. I have talked to each of you at one point or another. We had cars broke down. We had furnaces break down. We had to move abruptly. We had this, that, and the other. So it is not easy work, serving the community. We see the pretty pictures, we see the pictures of us, going out and serving the community, but people do not realize the work, that's behind all of that. So
loading and unloading.
Yes.
Late night conversations.
Yes.
The fill-ins when something has lacked or fell by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people don't see.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Debra said it's a pretty picture. We make it look easy.
Mm-hmm.
But those crying out to the Lord moments, mm-hmm. and those praying that something else will come through because you already have a commitment. Those are the things people don't say.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things, Rosie, when you're saying that, I often share with people, and they said, I want to do a nonprofit. I want to do this. And my question to them is, will you do it if you get no support? Mm-hmm. Will you do it if you have to go by yourself? Will you do it if it's only just you? Mm-hmm. Your nonprofit, when you say that, it's like your child. Nobody's responsible for your child's milk or diapers. That's your responsibility as their parent. Mm-hmm. So if you want to do this, it's not for the faint of heart. It is for the heart-minded who really have to want to put their hands in the work and stay a part of the work. That it's not, you don't get a chance to say, oh, well, it's okay, I'm just not. No, it's a work every day that you're putting into the work. And I often tell people that, and I think Debra said it when she said, do the work. Mm-hmm. I always refer people back to like David. David was king, but he was called out of work to work. Mm-hmm. And so that's when you notice is because you're doing the work and people see the work that's being done and they want to be a part of the work that's being done. So yeah, often people will see it looks easy. Oh, they do this. They must get a lot of stuff, or they must, but they don't know the work behind all that stuff. Usually it's the money.
We still have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So
how many of us still have full-time?
Everybody here still has full-time jobs. Sister Patty's
I'm currently don't have a full-time job. They kicked me out, but it was the Lord's doing. That
he was early retired.
It was the starting of the nonprofit.
You got a husband at home. You still got a full-time job.
We have to do the work that's required.
Yeah.
To make sure. If again, I think Ron said it. You've got a commitment. You've made a commitment that we're to go out and serve. The resources or the donations are not coming in, but you still have to get it done.
Someone's still looking for you to come out on Thursday
Yeah.
in that purple shirt, in that yellow shirt, in the blue shirt, in the red shirt. They may not know your name. They know your brand.
Yes.
They know that's Miss Debra. They know that's under my umbrella. They know that's Karen. They know us. And so when they don't see us, when they see us, it's what happened?
Where have you been?
Are you okay?
Exactly.
What's going on?
Exactly.
And they care for us as we care for them. And I think that's another thing, and it's kind of, segue into something else, but our unhoused friends know us like we know them. We know what they can eat, what they can't eat, who's sick, who's a diabetic, who's housed, who's looking for housing. We know all of these things, and that's all because it's not just handing out a sandwich. It's not just handing out a toiletry bag. It's so much more than that. It's hard work.
Yeah. And it's like you said, I know in serving in the Fort Worth area, they used to know my car. You know, they knew my car. And so when I pull up, you know, I had certain men that was like, give us some space, you know. They will look out for you.
They absolutely do that.
They will look out for you. They will pour into you. They will remember your kids. I took Farrah out with me all the time. They recognize her. How you doing in school? You being good? You're not giving your mom no problems, right? You know. And so the unsheltered community and the low income families, the people that we serve, they recognize us. They become our families. And as you begin to develop a relationship with these people, you become even more invested in the work that you do. And it is just a confirmation that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. If you walk away from what you're doing as a nonprofit person, if you walk away and you don't feel fulfilled, if you don't get something as equally as valuable as that hydration kit you're passing out or that hygiene care package, that you're passing out, if you don't get something back when you get in your car to pull away, that might not be your gift.
That might not be your gift.
That might not be your gift. Might not be. You might just have a heart to serve.
Or
and
you might
go out
have a heart to
occasionally.
sponsor someone who serves.
Yeah.
Because my brother says that all the time. He's like, I'm not built the way she is, so let me support her in another way because I can't do what she does. Everybody is important. It's all a part of the team. We all need each other for that.
Yeah. We've talked about the hard work and we've talked about the investment. So if each of you can just kind of think of one particular moment where you sat back and you felt completely fulfilled and grateful that you had done what you were supposed to do. If it was one story, one person that comes to mind, what situation, what is that one, who is that one? Because it's always a who. Who is that one person that you carry with you?
I have one. Just recently, so I wasn't scheduled to go out Christmas Day 2024, but just impromptu I thought, you know what, I have something extra, I have some time to kill before family dinner, I'm gonna go out. So I went out and I happened to see this truck drive by. He parks, rolls down his window, and he's like, do you remember me? I think I should say yes. I did remember him because he has a very distinctive tattoo here. But he gets out of the car and he says, you used to feed me over there a few streets over. He's like, I remember you and I always loved your meals. He said, I got a job, I'm clean now, I got married, and my wife is in the car with me, and we are giving out blankets today.
Full circle moment.
Full circle. We took a picture and everything.
Yes.
And it was perfect because it was Christmas Day. And I think it's important to realize, like to what Roz said, it's not just handing a meal. People remember you.
Yeah.
Right? They remember that you took the time to go out there and serve them like they're people, actual people,
And
right?
they are.
And give them that kind of respect and that dignity. And it makes a difference because this gentleman now gives back when he can. And so people can get out of that situation. You have to give them some kind of hope to hold on to until they can get out of that situation.
And what about you, Miss Debra?
Whoa, Miss Mary, I'll give you a story similar to hers, but because I know some of my homeless friends and shelter friends may see this video. To be honest with you, I feel fulfilled every time I serve. I feel like my purpose is made every Sunday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday. I have stories similar to hers where people are housed, people are in college, but the similar to hers, probably the best story I have is a young man who says he would never be housed again. I never want to be housed again. Um, and I respect that. If you say you never want to be housed, I respect that and I go with that. I want everybody to be housed, one person at a time. This particular young man burned himself, so he has a severe hand burn. And this particular Sunday, I have a small church group who's serving, some people from the church. I don't want to put it on the church. And one of the guys is a pastor. His wife is there, and she's going to stay with us to pass out some fruit. He's going to leave. So I asked the pastor, can you drop him off at the emergency room for me? He looked him up and down and said, no, he needs an ambulance because of the way his appearance is. Remember, it's just his hand.
Yeah.
And he says he needs an ambulance. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I can't leave the service. So a stranger walks up and says, hey, I'm not homeless, but I need a meal. I'm on my way to work and make Domino's Pizza. Can I get a meal from you? And I said, yeah, you can get a meal. Let's do a trade. So I was like, would you mind taking this young man to the hospital, dropping him off? And he was like, no problem, but I really need to get to work. Can I get a meal? And I was like, yeah. So I give him the meal, take him to the hospital. He take him to the hospital. So I'm going to rush the story. 2 days later, I'm at the hospital pretending to be this young man's sister because he can't have visitors unless they're family. So he's in the bed and he's waiting to see who's my sister. So I go in and I'm chit-chatting with him. Turns out this young man does not wish to be housed, has no idea, no inkling that he's about to be housed. So we're talking. So I'm like, okay, he's telling me about his life story, his family, da 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 da. So we make some calls, da 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 da. Never expect anything to come out of it. 2 days later, another young lady calls and says, hey, I just want to let you know so and so is about to be released from the hospital into his apartment. So I was like, an apartment? Really? For real? She's like, yeah. And I was like, you got the right person? So she's like, yeah. So long story short, he's housed, he's taking care of himself, and he's thriving, and now he helps me to organize my storage and things like that. But I love, anytime I serve the homeless, a family or anything, I feel fulfilled at that moment because I feel like I'm doing what God has called me to do, and particularly on Sundays, since that's where I serve the most. Each person that comes through that line, each person that comes through and they are served, whether it's a meal, a handshake, a hug, I feel fulfilled. This Friday night when I served in Dallas, we served and gave out everything out of the truck, but stayed at the camp maybe another hour just because they needed conversation. I felt when we left here, I felt fulfilled because they just needed someone to talk to. They just needed someone to listen to their stories and about their day and ask us about our day and things like that.
And realize they're human.
They are human.
Matter matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are human.
Absolutely.
They are somebody's uncle, somebody's aunt, somebody's niece. My sister died last Sunday in the morning, so someone else served for me in my place. They just continued on. While they were serving, another young man passed away at the service. So now the police are there. They're letting them to continue to serve, but now they need to wrap it up. They need you to serve faster. They want to clear the area. So the person that's serving calls and texts and says, hey, I just want to let you know we're serving, but one of your friends has passed away. And so I'm like, okay, no problem. So then he texts back and said, I want to let you know not only did he pass away, but the police has asked us to clear the area. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So I'm at home, I'm grieving because I'm crying because my sister passed away. And I'm like, she wasn't sick or anything. But now I got to get dressed and go to the park and ask the police. He's left alone. Nobody's, he doesn't have family, he doesn't have friends. I'm just gonna sit here, and he was like, sit as long as you want. So I'm gonna sit here until the medical examiners get here, because that is somebody's uncle, that's somebody's nephew, and he was like, I get it. Sit, no problem. That's the one thing I want everybody to understand when they serve with us. You're serving a lot of times. Groups are serving for community service hours and things of that nature, and a lot of times people are serving to say I serve.
Photo ops.
I want people to serve from the heart.
From the heart.
Yeah.
I can tell when a person says, "Hey, I'm coming. I want to give out apples and oranges. I have apples and oranges left over. I have this left over, and I want to come give them out." Okay, no problem. I can tell your heart is not in it when you've served and you've wrapped up and you've left and you're just gone. A lot of times people come and they want to give out what they give out, and they never say goodbye to the rest of us. They never say, "Hey, do you need a helping hand? Are you going to be okay?" They're just gone. So it's like I've been praying this year for the Lord to send people who only have a heart to serve.
Hard workers.
Hard workers who have a heart for other people, not just a person. Hey, I want to give you a plate. Sometimes we'll ask for you to introduce yourself to the person who's serving behind the table, and then we have to remind the people behind the table sometimes, hey, introduce yourself to them. They're ready to learn who you are.
They don't bite.
They don't bite.
Absolutely.
They're people.
I think one of the main things for me when I started getting into serving the community, one story that stood out to me, one young lady that I met, and I asked her, what brings you out here? Why are you out here? And she began to share with me, I was a straight A student in high school. I was valedictorian. I went to college, got a full year scholarship, and I went to a frat party, and I was gang raped. And after that, she said she was never the same. She didn't feel comfortable around her family, didn't feel comfortable around her friends, and she found herself out on the streets, and that's where she felt comfortable. Not because that's where she had to be or needed to be, or, just life circumstances had, put her into that situation. It's just where she felt comfortable. And while I was talking to her, another lady came up and she was dressed really well. She had a decent car and she asked for some food. And I found out that she was a teacher. And she goes to LA Fitness every morning and takes her shower and does her workout, and she gets dressed and she goes and she teaches your kids, every day, and she's homeless, and we deal with, you run into all different type of stories like that. You got fathers out there that are like, hey, they're killing me with child support. I gotta get this done. I'd rather be homeless and know that my kid is okay, and I'll sleep in my car. And they do the same thing. So tell me one extraordinary person that you met and you was like, no, you don't belong out here. What are you doing?
Well, to piggyback what you said, and I don't think that people realize that homelessness isn't just sleeping on the street. Homelessness means I do not have a permanent address, right? So it is the teachers, professors, chemists. There are several different walks of life that we come across on a very regular basis who shower with street side showers in Plano. And then they go to sleep in their car and get up and go to work the next morning. Or the LA Fitnesses and things of that nature. It's so many with that story. And homelessness is not just drug addicts and prostitutes.
Absolutely.
A lot of it is unchecked mental illness that needs to be addressed, which is a whole different conversation in this country. But it's so many different facets that, yes, we have families with children. They come to our tent city events. No, they're not homeless, but they haven't had a meal in 3 days because they just paid rent. Or it was, do I buy food or do I pay for medication? Which is what we deal with a lot of our seniors. So there's so many different stories.
So what I want to ask each of you as we get ready to close out, and just take a moment and you can think in detail. We are getting ready to approach traditional Dallas summer weather. And there are a lot of needs that need to be addressed during the season, making sure that
our people say hydrated. Make sure that they have those hydration kits and hygiene care packages and tents for this crazy, rain season we're getting ready to go in. With each one of you that you go out, if you would please share with our audience what you need, how we can help you, what your predominant need is that you anticipate going into these next few months of summer.
One of the things that I will just share really quickly is that I usually like to admonish those who want to help and those who are seeking to help is that we are not organizations and ministries of events. We do every day.
Yeah.
That need that you have on today is still that same need that a person experiences the next day. Just as we find ourselves needing to eat every day, that need is every day. It's not just an event. It's not just an October to the end of December. It's 365 that needs and resources are needed as we embark upon these summer times. We can all sit here and say we need hydration. And it doesn't matter if we all hit the same place every day. Hydration is needed every day.
Every day.
We're supposed to drink at least 8 cups of water a day. Oftentimes when we're out serving, due to our capacities, we're able to give them literally 1 bottle of water, maybe 2. If you're in a, just maybe you can give them more, but just again, based on our limited abilities to carry and take things out. So as I encourage people, you help us by putting water in your cars, putting snacks in your cars. And when you see someone, serve without judgment. It's not a matter of hunger drives, hunger walks. Hunger lives in homes. Hunger rides bicycles. Hunger is not a state of homelessness because there are people hungry who work 40 hours a week. They just don't have the means to meet what means need to be met. So I share with people all the time that if I were not where I am today based on where we are, I would find myself on the other end of that bag or that plate being passed. Because if I had to pay a mortgage, if I had to pay a car payment, that's something that and that's just being totally transparent, that we could not actually do. But because of where we are and we're able to maintain. So again, we serve without judgment, not a matter of people have driven up in Mercedes, people have driven up in all kinds of cars.
Just like
And
they
eat
did.
it. Yeah.
And I tell people, who will stand in a line? I'm not, and most of us will not, stand in a line to wait for a meal that we don't know who cooked it, who prepared it, for hours, just because we just want to. There is a need, and a need that needs to be met, and people are hungry. And again, we serve without judgment. And they know me. I always call myself the enforcer. That if they do, they may drive up in the car, and I'll say, this is not a drive-through service. You can get out, at least come over and talk to me. So we make it an atmosphere where they feel welcome to do that and comfortable. Absolutely, to come over and say, hey, let's share. Let's talk a while. Yeah. So again, if we're talking about that need, we're always in need of non-perishables. We're always in need of hydration, Gatorades and waters and individual pop-top cans of everything, Viennas and Spams and tuna packs. I mean, we always need all those kind of things.
And just because you don't eat it doesn't mean someone else won't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't serve food that we would not enjoy if someone does enjoy. We're not just out there saying, oh, they're homeless, it doesn't matter, give them anything. That's the quickest way to get exiled from a Care and Compassion Heart outreach. I'm just gonna share it with you. Those that's the quickest way to get ousted, to say, oh, they don't matter, they'll just take anything. No, we do not do that.
Because I'm going to tell you, Miss Debra's sister throw down every Sunday. Because I got a chance to serve.
Chef Felicia cooks.
Yes.
Chef. And now, is that who cooked when I came out to serve with you? She made some chicken Alfredo and I was
Chef
like,
Phoebe throwing down. Yeah, she does not serve. Just if she got filet mignon, they gonna get filet mignon. Whatever she has, she's gonna make sure that they get the best of the best that she has to serve. And I think that that's all of our motto, is that we're not gonna go out there and just do anything. We're gonna walk away with them saying that they had a satisfying meal that met the need, not just because I was hungry, but it was satisfying
Yeah.
to their bodies.
Yeah. And that's important. That's
Absolutely.
important. And what about you, Christina? What can people reach out to you to contribute?
Yeah, I'm really big on, it's not a one size fits all for everyone. You know, some people aren't fit to go out. You know, I had volunteers that I brought with me one time and they said, I love what you do, but I can't do it. It tugs at my heartstrings. I can't do it. But I can support you monetarily. I can support you and hit that Amazon wish list. I can, you know, so I think it's just important for everybody, to what Sister Pat says, these needs are 24/7, 365. So it's not a summer need necessarily or a winter need. I mean, we have specific needs seasonally. But I think it's important that our community, that we try to rally them and try to find what it is, how you can help. Whether it's by your coin, by your time, you know, and I have
In-kind donation.
in-kind donation. I have a lot of kiddos who want to do service hours, but the parents are busy. So I try to find ways for them to do that and help out at home. You know, they can decorate the brown paper bags we give out, and people love receiving that. They know that a child took the time to draw something or give them something encouraging, and it's not just put the food in there, wrap it up. You know, they look at that, and I mean, I've had people go, "This is art."
Yeah.
You know, now not all of them are, but you know, and so I think I'm just really big on everyone in the community. Just, if direct serving is not for you, or if your finances don't allow you to do that, let's work together and find some way for you to help. We give out a lot of free summer care packages. You are welcome to get it from my porch. It costs you nothing. Keep it in your car. So when you see somebody, you just, here you go. Everything's in it. The clothes, the hydration, the shelf-stable meal, everything. It's already been put in there for you. I just need you to come and do it and get involved.
And what about you,
I need to
Mike?
do something.
I'm gonna piggyback on that as well. My biggest thing is we look for people who want to serve, but as far as needs, 365 days a year, water is the biggest need. Because like she's saying, some days you can only give one bottle of water. Our goal every week is 10 bottles a person. Because it's not just for hydration, but that water is used also to bathe yourself.
I know, I was just about to say that.
So we encourage you, you know, for us, our homeless people sleep in camps and tents. And most of those camps are around a creek. They sit in that creek to cool off. They sit in that creek to bathe. So we try to discourage them from getting in the creek because they're in the creek to bathe. They're in the creek to cool off. But then now next week they're asking, do you have anything to remove worms?
Yeah.
You know, they get worms,
Infections.
infections from sitting in the creek. So we try to give out as much water as we can. Every Sunday we prepare a reusable bag, a tote bag. That tote bag is filled with drinks. So you will walk away with 10 bottles of water, maybe 10 bottles of Gatorade or assorted juices. But we try to make sure you have something to make it through, not just today. Because I may not see you tomorrow. I'm not going to see you tomorrow. But the need is 365 days a year. Because like we're saying too, for me specifically, I see you today. I may see another group tomorrow, another group Wednesday. But I may see anybody on my phone at night, texting, calling. Hey, so-and-so doesn't have water. We run out of water. We run out of food. Can you help? So I always encourage people, if you can donate, donate. If you can donate water, donate water. If you can donate monetarily, because a lot of times you're saying, what do you need? I don't know my needs all the time immediately. So if you donate on a wish list, if you donate monetarily, I can meet that need sometimes. Because we're saying now, we're saying homeless and unsheltered, but we also service those who are recently housed. Just because the city says, or we say the city needs to give them an apartment, the apartment was given, so now he's in the apartment or she's in the apartment going, what do I do now? So you see those same people back in their line Sunday.
Because they've left their resource.
Mm-hmm.
They've left their
Yeah.
resource.
And they still need additional resources.
Everybody is not guaranteed food stamps just because you got an apartment.
Yeah.
Everybody is not guaranteed that, hey, I can get Meals on Wheels. So it's like, what do I eat?
Especially now.
Especially now. So yeah, some of our resources now are cut off for people who have jobs, people who are low income. So now they're looking to nonprofits. So the first thing of the year, everybody was scared that Social Security was going to be cut off, food stamps got cut off. Guess whose inboxes are ringing now?
And we see the numbers increasing.
Yeah.
We see them increasing every week that you go out. I mean, I know from Thankful Thursday, we can remember 50 was our number. Now you're saying 175. So we see the numbers increasing.
We have people in our inbox now. It's March, asking about Christmas.
Yes.
Already.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
How
Already.
do I get my kids on the Christmas list?
And to piggyback off of everything that these ladies have said, it's not just the unhoused, because we also help a lot of elderly families and couples and single elderly people. Because I am a couponer at heart, I will make your dollar stretch. So we will always say monetary, because we're out and about and we may see a deal that no one else picked up.
Yeah.
Hey, I see Reebok shoes for $20 where they're normally $85. And I get so many so that's always important. But water, of course, would be next. And to piggyback off of that, sometimes hygiene is more important than food. And a bar of soap is more important than a bottle of body wash, because no one's gonna steal my bar of soap because it touched my body. So bar of soap, washcloths, because you can't take a bath without a washcloth. So,
Simple things that we take for granted.
those 2 bottle of waters that Sister Pat gave this morning, one's for bathing, one's for drinking.
Yeah.
We see it as, oh wow, I never thought of it like that, but it's simple things
And I
that
think
make such a difference.
the most important thing, and I think that I know we do, because I know we've talked about it, is that we ask the people
What do you need?
what they need.
What you need.
We don't just assume that everybody needs this.
Reading glasses.
We're asking, what is it that you need? How can we
Huge.
help you? What's a benefit to you? Not just assuming that everybody's gonna get a toothbrush and a toothpaste today, and someone's saying, I don't need it. Because they've come to me and said, I've got toothbrushes, I've got. And like I said, I love with Christina. She takes those buckets, but if she goes those buckets with her life, that she'll have a bucket of stuff. The people who come through and take what they need from that. And so that's what we do. Of course, baby wipes. We call them bath in the bags.
Yeah.
You know, washcloths.
Because
Those
they may not be able to
Jordan
get to the
washcloths.
shower.
Yes,
Yeah.
those washcloths and the little. We do bath in the bags. Hygienes and heinies. You know, those kind of things. We can get underwear. Those kind of things. Toilet paper.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely. Sewing kits.
Yeah.
Nail clippers. Things that we
Safety
use
pins.
every day.
They still use
That we think that, oh, but it's like, yeah, they need it too.
Lip
So,
care.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, you said it, and monetary donations enable us to meet the need when the need needs to be met. And we don't all have enough storage to store up 200 cases of water at a time. But if the monetary donations are there, we can go and get that water when it's needed, meet that immediate need where it's needed, and be prepared for the next.
Well, I got space for 200 cases of water. And you ladies know, we started the 100 cases of water re-up campaign. And we were blessed the first time we did it to be able to share those resources with you. And that is absolutely 100% our purpose for restarting the re-up campaign, which actually starts today. And when I initially did it, it was just for them to go out to the unsheltered community. But like Roz pointed out, we have seniors that are going to need water. We've got low-income families that need water. So while the challenges say 100 cases of water, Miss Pat put it in the atmosphere, and Miss Pat said, y'all need to give 200 cases of water for us to be able to do what we need to do in the community. And that's 200 cases and beyond. We need shelf life food products. You call them the Pop Tops, Pop Tops, Vienna sausages, things like that. We want to do whatever we can to be a blessing and be a benefit to the unsheltered community, low income families, our seniors, and anyone that falls in between that spectrum. If you want to know how you can help, how you can be a part, how you can be a valuable asset in reaching our community and being a blessing to others and paying it forward, then you definitely want to connect with these women that are in this room right here who have proven track records of being successful in reaching the community and feeling the need. Each one feel the need. And that is what we need going forward. I want to thank each and every one of you ladies for coming and for being a part of Queen Space Conversations and sharing your stories and letting people know what you're doing in the community. You are appreciated, you are invaluable, you are all so needed, and you are making a tremendous difference in the community through the work that you do. So thank each and every one of you for being my special guest on Queen Space Conversations. Thank you. So thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode. Please reach out to my dear friends Pat Rigsby Scott, Christina Cheng, Debra Nickerson, and Roslyn Bryant. Thank you. See you next week.